But first, heroes, I would really much appreciate it. What does really much appreciate it mean? Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. First, very quick little bit of housekeeping to attend to. Here's my physical copy of Go-Go Power Rangers issue 27. That being taken care of, I was listening to my last Mighty Morphin comic review on the way home from uploading, not watching, listening, and I remember that I said this. Zack and Trini know about the erased timeline, and the Omega Rangers begin to form. We'll see how that goes when I take a look at Go-Go Power Rangers, issue number 28.
I was the wrong one!
Full admission here, I just looked at the end of the previous issue, like you might remember me doing on screen previously, to remember where the story was, and I didn't look at the solicitation. Because, as it turns out, that's not what this issue is about at all. Week 4 of 6 straight Power Rangers comics is the second issue of Go-Go Power Rangers in the month of January. Doing 2 issues in the same month gave the writers the freedom to do something a little creatively fulfilling. It's another side story issue. That's right, heroes, a cute little interlude. Warning, heroes, this issue is an emotional gut punch. Let's take a look at Go-Go Power Rangers issue number 28. Ugh, these album covers, they drive a music pleb like me crazy. I tried the reverse image search trick this time, but the actual album cover is photorealistic, it's a photo, so it was too realistic for this drawing to match. It was back to the old tried and true comic and artist name to find a comment on Artist Station that revealed that this cover tributes the Pearl Jam album 10. The yearbook cover is Skull saying Bulk's quote was the best. Yeah, but at least your quote was grammatically correct, Eugene. Let's stay with Skull for the social media cover, revealing something we learned during Zeo, that Skull plays classical piano. In fact, Adam references seeing Skull in the recital hall, making me wonder what the timing of this cover is. The main cover portends who we're focusing on and what we're in for, with a crying Rita Repulsa front and center. Not a little more, not a little less, 10,000 years ago, Rita Repulsa awakens in a strange boxy room. A computerized voice speaks to her and she demands to know where she is and where her minions are. The computer's name is Moment and says that Rita's minions have already begun their sessions. She realizes that Zordon has placed her in the dumpster, and Moment says that Rita's crimes carried a death sentence, but Zordon showed her mercy with the dumpster. Turns out the dumpster is some kind of rehabilitation system. Rita chides Zordon for not taking her out when he had the chance, and says Moment may begin this rehabilitation. And Rita finds herself a red-headed alien girl in a child's bedroom. Her mother greets her, calling her Nyosha. She insists that she is Rita Repulsa, an evil empress. Her mother laughs it off as one of her child's moods. Looking out the window, Rita sees a technological world, but no spaceport. Her father approaches, sharing her mother's amusement at this evil personality. However, she then starts to lose memory of who she was. All she remembers is a dark, evil desire to destroy their world, leading the little girl to feel that there's something terribly wrong with her. Interlude, Squat. Squat emerges from a giant egg, finding himself in a big nest with 2 other little birdies. Mama Bird shows up, Squat terrified he's about to get eaten. However, Mama Bird sees Squat as one of her hatchlings, and they fly off into the sunset. Back to Rita Nyosha, I'd say probably about 10 years have passed. Nyosha walks with a friend carrying some scrolls that are probably their equivalent of textbooks. A friend, Kurina, comes running up, covered in berry juice, and insisting she just wants to go home and not raise a fuss about it. Nyosha insists that Kurina tell her who did this. They go to confront the bully, Malak's Bryn. Nyosha tells him off, threatening to cut off his arms and legs and eat his face right off his head so he'll be this armless, legless, faceless thing rolling down the street like a, I'm sorry, recurring YouTube ad. Anyway, leave the girl alone. He agrees, not intimidated, but slightly attracted. Even under the threat of her violence, he asks her out. Interlude, Finster. In a cave, Finster molds clay into tiny monsters. Finster's wife, I had to look it up, it's Plepra, walks in having fallen asleep just for a moment, says Finster. Anyway, he says he wants to show her something, and they and the little monsters walk outside. They stand up on a rocky hill. Plepra says it's beautiful. Finster says it's not, but when he's done with it, it will be.
That was a great scene.
Back to Rita. Let's say another 5 or so years later this time. Turns out things worked out pretty well with the former bully Malax, as the two of them are getting married. The two are playfully cynical with each other, Nyosha giving their marriage a week, maybe 2, while he jokes that he was going to look for someone better at the reception. She dances with her father, him expositing about how Nyosha really reformed Malax, turning a bully into a fine, upstanding gentleman. We learn that her mother has passed away, Nyosha saying she would have enjoyed becoming a grandmother. Yes, she's pregnant. Can't help but wonder if that's why they're getting married, cynical as that thought is. And he's thrilled. Interlude, Babu. Babu is king of the Pongi, and his primary general, Archduke Bantu, has come to challenge him and take the crown. Babu acknowledges he'd never defeat Bantu 1v1, but has a unique challenge for him. The sword held by a statue there once belonged to his father, and he says that it's laced with a poison that leads to a slow, agonizing death. Babu, that face, says the blade is poisoned to this very day. Babu challenges Bantu to each cut their hands on the sword, and whoever suffers through the pain and doesn't die first is clearly the strongest, getting the antidote and the crown. Bantu considers it and walks away. Babu's advisor asks if there really is poison on the blade, and Babu says we'll never know for sure. Back to Rita and Nyosha, and I'm going to give it 10 or 15 years this time. Listen, the computer is giving us cycles, and looking back, they do seem to correspond to years, starting with cycle 7, then 15, 26 at the wedding. Dang, they dated for 11 years before getting married. And now, cycle 36. It's just weird for this program to have started with cycle 7. I guess Moment does have the person's entire life cataloged, but there's no use for Rita to see it from birth.
Get on with it!
Reading my mind, MPG. Nyosha now has 2 children, a son named Balin, and a daughter that I don't think is ever actually named. Balin's accidentally injured his sister, frustrated at her basically being a little sister. But he realizes this is bad and tells his mother what she once told her parents. He feels like he's a bad person. Indeed, she tells him how she used to imagine blowing up the city, even apparently having the power to make tiny explosions and words appear in the air. She always felt scared and alone, like there was a monster inside her, so whenever she got really scared, she made her monster grow, acting meaner and scarier. It didn't help her, she just felt worse. But then she met her future husband and had kids, and now the monster barely even exists, but it is still there. She makes a deal with her son. They will always tell each other when they feel the monster within, so they can make it grow smaller together. Interlude, Goldar. Goldar is locked in battle, talking about how his weapons were forged in a volcano, just like Kalus's Batleth. But he gets hit in the back by a giant ogre, before the ogre gets sliced in half, by Silverback, Goldar's big brother. You know, the one he killed. Goldar even seems to remember this, but Silverback brushes it off. They have a giant battle to fight, and they'll be honored to fight it together. 40 years later, Cycle 76, Neosha and Malak are senior citizens, Balin having a son of his own, Kadja. They've gone to see the sakuras bloom, basically. As the two older folks reminisce, we get the name of this world, Redna 2, and some cute romance between them. But as they make it to the trees, they are attacked by a giant eye guy and putties. They run, and Neosha says she's seen this monster in her dreams. Neosha then runs headlong into Rita Repulsa. The two seem to recognize each other, Neosha even calling Rita me. Rita then kills her, and the scenario ends. Rita is returned to the box room, Moment asking if she found the session emotionally resonant. She's disoriented at first, insisting she's still Neosha, but then her memories start to return. Moment asks if this lifetime was illuminating, and she can't quite understand what's going on. So the dumpster is programmed to rehab criminals via emotional stability. Some, like Squat, may only need that sense of family that they've never had. Others, like Finster, find tranquility in new worlds, which still doesn't really make any sense. People like Babu lack a purpose, while those like Goldar really do just thrive on chaos. You may have noticed that the minions have different rehab than Rita. They get to stay themselves. Moment says this is because her trauma was caused by feelings of abandonment and isolation. So, Moment cataloged the lives of all 4,239,172 of her victims and says Rita will be the living repository of their entire lives, hoping that living the lives of every person she ever killed will instill a sense of empathy. Based on Session 1, Moment guesses this will take about 28,234 years to complete. That is a touch more than 10,000, but that's still a lot of time for a whole bunch of lives. Rita screams no, but Moment starts Session 2, a 6-year-old green-skinned, web-canned girl in her bedroom. Rita desperately tries to hang on to her memories, but as her mother calls her, they slip away, only tears of frustration and sadness remaining. Nope, just hang on, just give me a second here. Wow, that was freaking deep! A gut-punchingly emotional story about criminal rehabilitation, imprisonment, and yes, even torture. This actually reminded me of 2 different episodes of Star Trek. There's the Next Generation episode, The Inner Light, where Captain Picard is knocked out by an alien probe and lives basically the entire adult life of a scientist from its world, cataloging how they lived and how they died, all within a few minutes. The other is the Deep Space Nine episode Hard Time, where Chief O'Brien is accused of being a spy on an alien world and sentenced to live a 20-year prison sentence via memories implanted into his mind, only taking place over a few hours, which nearly wrecked his actual life. Zordon showed Rita mercy when he didn't have her killed, but instead imprisoned for rehabilitation. Zordon always felt that there was good inside Rita Repulsa, and this was his way of trying to find it. But was it mercy? Rita has been sentenced to live 4 million lives and 4 million deaths at her own hands. Think about the level of self-loathing that can cause. Clearly, the aim is to try to get Rita to see her evil personality tendencies the same way Neosha did, the monster within, best repressed and lessened. And think about the impact this can have on Rita's sense of identity. I tried to look up and research how many distinct personalities a person with dissociative identity disorder would have to be considered a severe case. I don't think there's really a defined number, but I did find this interesting tidbit. Severe cases of dissociative identity disorder are almost always connected to severe cases of abuse. We know from the show's story that Rita's sentence is going to be interrupted just over a third of the way through. 10,000 years when she's finally free to conquer Earth. I did the math. Rita should emerge from that dumpster with the memories, life to death at her own hands, of 1,483,710 people. We think that she was evil before when she fought Zordon, before she had the entire memories, life to death of the population of San Diego, California inside her head. Listen, this is a standalone story that has nothing to do with where things are in Go-Go right now. Rita's not even around at this point in Go-Go. Might I have rather had another story that pushes things forward and they saved this for an annual issue that they seem to have entirely stopped making for some reason? Possibly. I can't regret the story. It was too good. It engaged my emotions. It made me think. It made me feel sorry for a terrible villain. This story was on the level of perfect. Not literally perfect, because the Finster part, ironically enough, was a little bit weird, but on the level of the story perfect that was about Finster, if you're still following me. However, it does get a perfect score. Go-Go Power Rangers issue number 28 gets a 5 out of 5. Whew! I gotta say, after a story like this, Mutant Turtles feel kinda quaint. But yes, it's time to head back to New York City to see how the Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles deal with the Shredder wearing this season's loveliest shade of green, as I review Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 3. That is going to wrap up another comically long review. Heroes, thank you so much as always for watching. Again, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know what you thought of this issue, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. And until next time, may the power protect you, Shoulder Pop. When the video's complete, I'd love you... And if you'd like to support the actual cover that this is gosh. To find a comment on another website with the album cover that, she realizes that Rita, you may have noticed that the millions, a story about words that I didn't say. I didn't really define, gosh dang it. Rita should emerge from the dumpsters with the memories from the, whew, after a story like this, I've got to say, Mutant Turtles feel kind of, to see how the Rangers and the Ninja Turtles deal with the Shredder in this season's, again, make sure to let me know what you thought of this issue, as well as my